Please draw a carbon cycle diagram of the photosynthesis of the Sengu Giant, given that the splitting speed of a certain individual of the grass-walking hydra follows in proportional sequence A1 equals 3, A5 equals 24, find the general formula for its splitting. The main chemical component of the scales of the coral dragon lizard is _______, which is soaked in concentrated hydrochloric acid to obtain a precipitate of _______. As Chen Xuan watched the tutoring book with increasingly absurd questions, he couldn't help but close it and saw on the cover, "I am just the footsteps of a group of people before you, leading you to the peak of the Imperial envoy. I am just an earnest reminder, reminding you of the little things you need to get along with the Imperial spirit." 5-year simulated 3-year college entrance examination, Imperial edition, keywords of the novel. Wukong, it's up to you. No pop-ups, Wukong, it's up to you. Download the complete text. Wukong, it's up to you to read the latest chapter. Chapter 1. Imperial Spirit Revolution. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Imperial Spirit Revolution. Chen Xuan, can you help me guide me? The girl at the desk handed over a pen and paper for help. Ah. Oh, yes. Chen Xuan, who had regained consciousness from his daze, instinctively took the paper and started reading it. A power storm monkey uses its race technique, Qi Qi Xiang Xiang, to move in the forest. Its speed from one tree to another is v, t, equals 3t (2 plus 2t plus 1. If the power storm monkey is in tree B at t equals 2 seconds, how far is it from tree B at t equals 5 seconds? Mighty monkey. What kind of question? Chen Xianmei picked up the tip of his eyebrow and tried to resist roast, explaining in detail. This problem does not require differentiation, but requires integration. Displacement is equal to the integration of velocity. Therefore, we can integrate the velocity function v, t, once. After integration, there will be a constant c. To determine the constant c, we need to use the initial condition. The force monkey is in the B. tree at t equals 2 seconds. By substituting it in, we can calculate the value of the constant c. Finally, substituting t equals 5 into d, t equals s, t, s, 2, yields the displacement within 5 seconds. After explaining, Chen Xuan looked at his desk mate with a clear and foolish expression, wanting to know if he had spoken in enough depth and simplicity. So it's like this. The girl at the desk nodded in confusion, but hesitated for a moment before weakly questioning, is the racial skill in the question stem just used by the questioner to confuse? Upon hearing her words, Chen Xuan couldn't help but furrow his brow, realizing that the question was not simple. Because Power Storm Monkey is a creature with extraordinary power and is known as the Spirit of the Palace in the currently popular board game, Spirit of the Palace. According to the description on the card, when using the race skill, Qi Li Xiang, the Power Storm Monkey will increase its overall ability by 10% with each action. Considering that board games are turn-based, this improvement, if put into reality, should be continuous and accumulate over time. The context in the corresponding question can be understood as a speed increase of 10% per second. Sorry, I missed out on this condition. The formula should be changed to v, t, sad face 3t squared plus 2t plus 1, multiplied by 1.1 to the power of t, and then integrated. Chen Xuan, who had corrected his mistake, couldn't help but praise him. This set of questions is quite well written. Where did I buy it? I've been playing Yu Ling Lu for so long, and I don't even know it's co-branded with 53. The girl at the desk blinked her eyes and stared at Chen Xuan for a while before saying strangely, "What are you talking about? You haven't applied for the Imperial examination. Where did you get the Imperial Spirit book?" Ah! Chen Xuan was taken aback. Isn't it possible to buy a package of Yu Ling Lu for 5 yuan at a small shop? Has my poor temperament developed to a point where even a handsome face cannot conceal it? High school freshmen have entered the venue in an orderly manner, and the spiritual enlightenment ceremony is about to begin. If some high school sophomores still intend to transfer to the Imperial science, they can also queue up at the playground. Just then, the broadcast rang. The broadcast rang 3 times in a row, and Chen Xuan listened attentively 3 times, but still couldn't understand what event was being held. Forget it, since only the names of the first and second year of high school were called, it shouldn't have anything to do with me, a third-year high school student. Let's hurry up and review. Chen Xuan didn't pay much attention and reached out to the drawer to pull out a coaching book that had just arrived yesterday. Summary of High-Frequency Historical Exam Points. The first few pages of the book are a chronological summary of major events from different eras. Whether it was the disintegration of slavery during the Spring and Autumn period or the emergence of capitalism during the Renaissance period, they were no different from what I remember. But from modern times to later historical events, it was foolish to directly show Chen Xuan. In the mid-18th century, the royal family of the British Empire included the first proven extraordinary creature in their tribute list. An owl capable of spitting ice and frost. At that time, the young princess would personally feed the owl locked in a huge birdcage for viewing every day. Until one evening a month later, an accident occurred. When the princess went to feed as usual, the lazy and chubby bird, which usually kept its eyes half open, suddenly launched an attack. A sharp ice cone thrown by Genie nailed down a colorful venomous snake following the princess. After this incident, a series of royal infighting was also involved. In summary, in recognition of its loyalty and bravery, the queen at the time named it Hedwig, which means guardian monster sent by the gods, and also awarded it the thistle emblem, one of the highest honors of the royal knights. Later, the name Hedwig was also used to collectively refer to the emerging extraordinary creatures, which were translated as demon spirits in Chinese. Some gentle spirits can participate in production after simple domestication, and their efficiency far exceeds that of ordinary livestock, promoting rapid economic growth. This period is known as the First Rain Revolution. In the mid-19th century, a breakthrough was made in the development of rune literature based on the study of demons and ancient totems. A very small number of people could make demons have higher obedience through the form of contracts. The two parties who reach a contract are called envoys and spirits. As a result, demon spirits gained a special legal status and began to transition from simple labor to complex labor. The further precise application of extraordinary powers such as wind, fire, and lightning promoted the development of a series of related technologies such as steam and electricity, and the economy of the European continent began to soar. This period was known as the Second Rain Revolution. In the mid-20th century, all the participating countries in World War II longed for the envoys and spirits to exert greater power on the battlefield. Therefore, the emergence of the Spirit Inspiration Instrument has made contract demons no longer the exclusive property of a very small number of people. The number of envoys has exploded, and the war situation has become even more brutal. In addition to continuously improving the spiritual instrument and increasing its quantity, scholars from various countries are also deeply cultivating another research direction: improving the quality of envoys. Originally, there were only 6 levels corresponding to military ranks in terms of the division of abilities between envoys and spirits. People, soldiers, captains, colonels, and generals. With the massive investment of human and material resources at no cost during World War II, the assertion that generals are the limit was shattered, and further promotion paths were gradually explored. Finally, the 7th level was officially born. Wukong. That is an unprecedented powerful force. At that time, Japan, which had personally experienced 2 attacks by royal-level imperial spirits, had the most say in this matter. The question of thinking directly changed from whether to surrender to how to surrender. Due to the acceleration of research on demons and the increasing changes in the times, this period is known as the Third Rain Revolution. Seeking collection, seeking investment, seeking tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Enlightenment Ceremony. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 2 Enlightenment Ceremony. 5 minutes later. My desk mate, who originally only planned to use his phone to watch the time, is still eagerly watching short videos. Note, this man's name is Xiaoshui. He accidentally drew the Snow Cellar Talisman and evolved from a 1-star Snow Linu to a 9-star Jade Flying Beast. Strange news that you have never seen before: the eucalyptus lizard, during the flowering season, was brutally murdered just because it passed by the area. Family members, after 2.5 years, there have been rumors of Kuan disturbance again on the Silver Coast. The anchor, I have now bought a plane ticket and prepared to explore the deep sea with Lanxiu, paying close attention and not getting lost. Noticing that Chen Xuan seemed interested in the video content on the side, the girl sitting at the table immediately happily sent out an invitation. Let's watch together. The anchor wearing suspenders is very funny. No need, thank you. Chen Xuan shook his head and politely declined, trying to calm his current mood. If the previous questions or test points can still be interpreted as joint official activities. So, after watching his desk mate browse through so many short videos in a row, he was certain of one thing. He had traveled to a parallel world set against the backdrop of the spirit of war. After all, the content of short videos involves various aspects such as film and television, life, and news. Perhaps 1 or 2 videos can be fake, but it's not possible that all videos are acting together, right? Wait, the cards I bought before. Suddenly remembering something, Chen Xuan instinctively reached into his backpack. As expected, the set of cards that I paired within the Imperial Spirit book is no longer available. But he made another miraculous discovery. Just as the idea related to this deck came to mind, the image of the card automatically came to mind. Every pattern and rune on it is incredibly clear. It's a genuine card that costs 5 yuan per pack, and surprisingly comes with an electronic version. Chen Xuan silently gave a thumbs up to the manufacturer for their meticulousness and thoughtfulness. Whether or not he has this deck is too important for him in a parallel world. Because Imperial envoys require the cultivation of Imperial techniques to assist in the growth and combat of Imperial spirits. The so-called Imperial technique can be simply understood as giving buffs to the Imperial spirit. After all, besides innate racial skills, it is difficult to discover new skills in the future. If the Imperial spirit can use more skills, it will definitely enhance its combat effectiveness. Based on this purpose, successive Imperial envoys and scholars have observed the similarities in the skills of various spiritual races, and combined them with rune literature, to deduce and convert them. In the end, a complete auxiliary system. Yushu was formed. By drawing talismans, the Imperial envoy can assist the spirit in using skills other than their own race skills during battles, greatly increasing the likelihood of combat. Even the partially perfectly adapted, nurturing type, magic can also help the spirit to embark on a new evolutionary path, such as the Snow Kiln Talisman that appeared in previous short videos. Through his brief understanding just now, Chen Xuan found that the current research progress on Yushu in this parallel world seems to be only equivalent to the initial version of Yuling Lu. In other words, there are many magical talismans that have not yet been drawn. Such a huge information gap undoubtedly gives oneself a lot of room for choice. Whether it's choosing to become a researcher, various new talismans are as productive as Cao's, sending SCI to the hands and promoting them to academicians with mentors. Or choose to become an envoy and use their unique skills to punch the South China Sea Dragon King and kick the Beichuan Frost Bear Lord. The future is bright. Of course, the prerequisite for all of this is to register for the Imperial Academy. Heaven does not give birth to Chen Xuan, and there is no way to talk about Imperial skills. Chen Xuan, who had already made a decision in his heart, got up and went downstairs straight to the playground. At this moment, strange instruments are neatly arranged on the playground. It looks a bit like a weight scale that can measure height, but the model is larger and the appearance looks more technological. This should be the spirit opener, right? Chen Xuan guessed. The standard for determining whether a person can become an Imperial envoy without a spiritual enlightenment device is whether the Imperial energy in their body can naturally increase to a certain value, triggering a qualitative change through quantitative change. The function of the Qi Ling Yi is to stimulate the Imperial energy, and in the absence of sufficient quantitative changes, it prompts it to complete qualitative changes ahead of time. I don't know how much of my Imperial power I have. Chen Xuan instinctively touched his lower abdomen. Yuneng is a special energy commonly present in the modern human body, which slowly grows like height, reaches its peak during adolescence, and gradually loses the ability to grow naturally. Although the discovery of Yuneng occurred in the mid-19th century, based on existing research, it can be inferred in reverse. The first time that Imperial energy appeared in the human body should be in the mid-18th century, the same time as the appearance of demons. So looking at it from a different perspective, ordinary animals have mastered extraordinary powers and transformed into demons, but is Imperial power another extraordinary power that humans have mastered? In a sense, perhaps humans can also be considered demons. Next to each spirit instrument, there are personnel wearing uniform, while in front of these instruments, there are orderly rows of people. At this moment, a boy is standing on the spiritual instrument, holding onto the grip of the instrument with both hands. Pop! Suddenly, there was a flash of lightning, followed by a thunderous explosion. Upon closer inspection, a talisman wrapped in electric current appeared out of thin air in front of the boy. I'm going. I woke up. Isn't that too early? Just as I raised it, I opened the roll. And the awakened talent is still favored by thunder, which can have an amplification effect on all thunder-based spells. Damn it. The students in the queue suddenly exploded with discussion. Is it true that the symbol of the transformation from quantitative to qualitative change in Imperial power is the awakening of innate talent? Chen Xuan suddenly realized. Unlike other board games, Yuling Lu requires 2 card packs, one fixed and the other for players to freely match. At the beginning of the game, players not only draw a basic spirit card and art card from the free card pack as their hand cards, but also draw a talent book from the fixed card pack. The tactical layout of the entire game often revolves around talent. Because if used properly, it can even allow the originally inconspicuous weak spirit to directly possess the terrifying power of higher level slaughter. For example, Wong Mouse, SHU. Its racial rating is only 1 star, and it does not have an evolutionary form, making it no different from cannon fodder in battle. However, it has a relatively special racial skill. Co-living goo. The skill effect is to plant insects and goo in the opponent's body, bringing prosperity and loss to all, and sharing life and death. At first glance, it seems like we can use a trick called Tianji racing to switch between extreme and extreme races. Not really. Because once the controller dies, the insect poison immediately becomes ineffective. In other words, if you are instantly killed by a single move, Tongxing Gu will not work. But if the talent drawn is 10 deaths and still alive, then the situation is completely different. Because the effect of this talent book is to help the spirit maintain a near-death state and continue to participate in battles when it receives fatal damage. This also means that the extreme 1-for-1 tactic holds true in the true sense. Even if paired with advanced skills, it is not impossible for Silk Blood to counter-kill. Although the broadcast only notified the first and second year of high school to participate in the initiation ceremony, I, as a third-year high school student, wouldn't sneak in so easily be discovered, would I? With this thought in mind, Chen Xuan walked towards the back of the queue, intending to sneak a peek in the queue. But as I passed by the spirit opener, there was a sudden buzzing in my ears, and then a feeling of dizziness began to fill my entire head, causing my feet to stumble a bit. Seeking collection, seeking investment, seeking tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. The Stomach of Gluttony. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 3. The Stomach of Gluttony. Bang. In a daze, Chen Xuan felt as if something had melted inside his body, and countless warm waves rushed towards his limbs and bones, causing his skin to feel numb and itchy. Goo-goo, accompanied by a loud rumbling sound like a drum, Chen Xuan saw two talismans, one large and one small, condensed out of thin air in front of him. The big one is in front and the small one is at the back. Without waiting for him to take a few more glances, the talisman gradually faded and dissipated like a flash in the pan. At this moment, everyone's attention is still on the boy who has awakened the favor of thunder. By the time they finally realized the anomaly and turned their heads, the small talisman had already dissipated without a trace. Only the dissipation speed of the great talisman is slightly slower, which many people have witnessed with their own eyes. My mentality has collapsed. How could I wake up without even using the spirit enlightenment instrument? Is there still a law to enforce? Can the police take control and arrest such people for life imprisonment? I can't continue playing this life game anymore. The guy who controls my character in a higher dimension, can't he give me some money? It's not much to ask for. Just charge the first 6 yuan gift package and it's enough. The discussion, which had not yet completely subsided, suddenly increased in decibels. Stop making noise, keep it down, it's just a yawn effect. The teacher who maintained order pressed his hands lightly, indicating that everyone should remain silent. Teacher, what is the yawning effect? A student asked. When you see someone yawning, you may involuntarily follow suit. The teacher explained, the same goes for enlightenment. The energy fluctuations emitted by one person's successful enlightenment may trigger another person to complete the same enlightenment. It is estimated that similar situations will occur later, so there is no need to be alarmed. I see, then I can rest assured. I'm not afraid of my brother's hardships, but I'm afraid of my brother's mistakes. I retract the previous verdict and sentence this brother to imprisonment for having a wife. Many people breathed a sigh of relief when they heard that another genius had emerged. On the side, Chen Xuan was still a bit confused. Is this the awakening? But looking back on the incredibly real experience just now, the corners of my lips couldn't help but soar wildly. Although I didn't see clearly what talent I had awakened, since I could awaken without using any equipment, it's not much different, is it? And most importantly, in the future, what welcomes oneself is a brand new world and a brand new life. Just thinking about it makes my blood boil. Hello, that classmate, come and take a note. The staff responsible for recording information next to the instrument waved at Chen Xuan and shouted. After taking a step over, Chen Xuan awkwardly scratched his head and said, "Sorry, I just didn't see what talent I had awakened." It's okay, I didn't see it clearly either, but I just heard the rumbling sound of hunger. The gluttonous stomach, this talent is good. The recorder typed on the keyboard of his laptop to input information while chatting casually. My cousin has awakened this talent. He dropped out of high school before graduating and started working at the largest pig farm in our city. As soon as he entered, his monthly salary was over 10,000 yuan. Clams. A pig farm. Chen Xuan was stunned for a moment, and the previously filled hot blood instantly cooled down. Don't look down on pig farming. My cousin is the most skilled pig farmer in the farm. With his monthly salary, performance, and bonuses, he can earn nearly 100,000 yuan. TSK, he earns 1 million yuan a year, which makes me envious just thinking about it. The recorder spoke confidently, by the way, what's your name? Chen Xuan, Xuanzang. Chen Xuan asked tentatively, is there any other suitable place besides a pig farm? Of course there is, go to the botanical garden. It's quite easy to sign a long-term cooperation contract with a pharmaceutical company for wooden spirits that can produce medicinal herbs such as ginseng dolls or gemstone dendrobium monsters. However, the initial investment is relatively large, and if you don't have enough resources, you can only take out a loan. The recorder, who was typing in the information, suddenly leaned his head closer to the screen and said, "Hey. You're already in high school, aren't you?" "Yes." Chen Xuan nodded in confusion. "Strange, you know, the performance of gluttonous stomach in the game is not bad according to the game rules. For each round of survival on the court, the spirit will automatically increase its level by 1 level. But if you have a gluttonous stomach and enough material cards for supply, you can directly upgrade to the full level. Having such a remarkable talent, how could one be suggested to raise pigs? Is the demand for pork so high now? Are you eating Marshall Tianping?" They are already in their senior year of high school, but fortunately, what awakens is the gluttonous stomach. The recorder sighed. This is less than a year before the college entrance examination, and the Imperial students are not allowed to repeat. If at this time, like the previous person, they awaken a talent suitable for combat like Thunder's favor, they will have to struggle to decide whether to transfer to another subject. By the way, how is your academic performance? If it's not very good, I suggest you consider transferring to the Imperial Science class. It's not important whether you can get into college or not, as long as you have a solid foundation. After graduation, come to our Daoguan to enroll in an advanced class, which can save you the cost of enrolling in a basic class. It's not that I'm bragging. The students who leave our gym are definitely in high demand. When applying speaking, the recorder took a business card from his shirt pocket and handed it over. "Thank you, my academic performance is still good, so it shouldn't be a problem for me to get into a C9 university." Chen Xuan took the business card with both hands and replied, but in his heart he was pondering the key words in the words just now. Talents suitable for combat. Since the other party defines Thunder Blessing as suitable for combat, which can enhance the release effect of Thunder-type magic. So the implied meaning is that you feel that the gluttonous stomach is not suitable for combat. But shouldn't it be? Many decks with a gluttonous stomach as their core have strong tactical aggressiveness. What does it mean? You can even get into the top 9 universities in China, which is already quite good. Okay. The recorder looked surprised and said, "I have to retract what I said earlier. You did bury talent in the pig farm. At least you have to go to the botanical garden to show off your skills. I can only work as a caretaker when I am together." Chen Xuan couldn't help roast, but he didn't speak again, because a girl standing on the spirit opener was already staring at him. Humph. Watching Chen Xuan finally leave with wit, the girl snorted coldly before placing her hands on the grip. I saw a purple mist rising from the sky, violently surging and condensing into a small and exquisite mysterious talisman. I'll lose it. Poison hand. When using the Imperial technique, it can also have a highly toxic effect. This has been awakened for 3 consecutive times. The placement of this spiritual device clearly has the blessing of feng shui. I need to queue up. If I had known that metaphysics was true, I would have shared a few more koi last night. Listening to the noisy discussions around him, Chen Xuan couldn't help but shake his head. Readers should believe in science. Koi carp transport is all fake, only tRNA transport is real. By the way, why do others wake up with either big talismans or small talismans, while I have 2 talismans, one big and one small? Chen Xuan couldn't help but mutter in his heart. It seems necessary for me to systematically understand this parallel world, seeking collection, seeking investment, seeking tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. If you want to pick the stars, you must bear the hook and fall. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. If you want to pick the stars, you must bear the hook and fall. If you want to pluck the stars, you must bear the burden of falling. Although an uncontrollable talent is no different from a curse, the way of using it is rooted in one heart. Even if you abandon the blessing of talent, you can still achieve success with just one firm and persistent heart. The theory of talent. After reading the last sentence in the library, Chen Xuan closed this masterpiece compiled during the Qing dynasty and felt fully satisfied. This book is the first encyclopedia in Chinese history to systematically integrate and introduce the concept of natural talent. Although somewhat outdated in terms of content, the ideas contained therein still shine today, emphasizing the importance of human beings and criticizing the only natural talent theory of that time. According to the book's viewpoint, for the mediocre generation, excessive talent is actually a curse that hinders growth. Chen Xuan turned his pen and pondered quietly, so, the gluttonous stomach is not so bad that it can only raise pigs, but because it is too excellent, it makes it impossible for non-talented people to control it. According to the classification in the book, there are two types of talent books. There are two types of talents: the Imperial Spirit Talent Book and the Imperial Envoy Talent Book. From an external perspective, it's just a big and a small difference. From the perspective of effect, it is due to the different subjects of action. Small and exquisite talent items such as Thunder Blessing and Poison Hand belong to the Imperial Envoy talent items, which are used to enhance the Imperial Envoy's ability to perform their Imperial skills. And talents like the Gluttonous Stomach, which have a broad and rough appearance, directly act on the Imperial spirit. This also means that although the gluttonous stomach can quickly enhance the strength of the Imperial spirit, it cannot help the growth of the Imperial Envoy. This is like planting a time bomb. Because after signing the contract, the spirit of the Imperial spirit will be separated and formed into a Imperial Spirit Book, which will be nurtured in the space of the Imperial Envoy's Imperial Sumi. In the words of Cyberpoint, it is to perform real-time cloud backup of consciousness and directly soar mechanically. As long as this Imperial Spirit Book is not destroyed, even if the body of the Imperial Spirit is burned to ashes, the Envoy can reshape its body by nurturing the Imperial Spirit Book. However, the prerequisite for reshaping is that the level of the Imperial Envoy must be higher than or equal to the level of the Imperial Spirit. If the Imperial Envoy only has the rank of soldier, but the Imperial Spirit has reached the rank of scholar, so, after its body is damaged, it cannot be reshaped. After all, the energy levels of the two are no longer matched. Therefore, the most common consequence of the gluttonous stomach is to make the growth rate of the Imperial Spirit too fast, causing the Imperial Envoy to passively lose the ability to follow the contract. As the defaulting party, the Imperial Envoy may not suffer the backlash, but the path of the Imperial Envoy can basically be said to have come to an end, and it is difficult to make any progress. So unless the Imperial Spirit utilizes the power of the gluttonous stomach to make rapid progress, and the Imperial Envoy also has outstanding talent to sing along the way, the two can advance side by side. Otherwise, the only remaining significance of the gluttonous stomach would be to mass-produce spirits below the Imperial Envoy level and work in pig farms, botanical gardens, and other breeding grounds. Buzz. Chen Xuan raised his hand and tried to concentrate. Then, accompanied by a wave of energy fluctuations, two talent talismans were summoned. In addition to size, the seal patterns on them are exactly the same. This is like a jujube tree at the doorstep of a literary figure. One is the stomach of gluttony, and the other is still the stomach of gluttony. The currently recorded gluttonous stomach belongs to the Imperial talent and only acts on the Imperial spirit itself. Chen Xuan looked at his talent book and couldn't help but curl his lips slightly. But my gluttonous stomach is different. The slightly smaller one clearly belongs to the Imperial Envoy talent book, and is of the type that works on the Imperial Envoy himself. In other words, in conventional cognition, the limitation of the gluttonous stomach does not hold true for him. Because as the Imperial Envoy, one can use the gluttonous stomach with the Imperial spirit to improve, there is no need to worry about falling behind in growth speed, which may lead to violating the contract. The only thing to worry about is money. After all, the name, gluttonous stomach, was not taken blindly. Since it contains the word, gluttonous, it is clearly related to eating. Keep eating, eat good, eat expensive, the more you eat, the more you grow. If you don't have money, you can't improve your strength by eating, and if you can't improve your strength, you won't be able to earn money to buy food. This is a cycle of hunger. At present, the issue of money is also easy to solve. After all, according to the current policy, as long as the envoy who awakens two innate talents at once cooperates with relevant institutions for a period of research, they can receive at least 100,000 yuan in subsidies, and the college entrance examination can also reduce admission points. Chen Xuan silently pondered in his heart. Moreover, in the past, the gluttonous stomach could only act on the imperial spirit, and there have been no similar records of its effect on the imperial envoy. This should be even rarer for me. Maybe I can get more subsidies. The agency's phone number has been checked, but he plans to call later. Because of such good news, one should first inform someone. On the screen of the phone that is displaying the dialing screen, there is a contact person with the words Shirakawa noted. Hello. What's wrong, Xiao Xian? Quickly, the phone was dialed and a young male voice came from the other end. Brother, are you not busy now? The other party is studying at a police academy and has strict management. They often have gatherings and on duty, so it is not always convenient to answer phone calls. I'm not busy. I just finished a field trip and was about to go eat. By the way, you should have used up your living expenses, right? I'll transfer it to you later. The weather over there has been cooler lately, remember to add more clothes. No need, there's still living expenses. Chen Xuan interrupted the other person's chatter, entering the main topic with a hint of hard-to-conceal pride in his tone. And if nothing unexpected happens, there should be a deposit of over 100,000 yuan in the future. After a moment of silence on the other end of the phone, he said earnestly, although a person can live with only one waist, as a man, having only one waist is incomplete. I'm not stupid, can I sell that thing? Chen Xuan said helplessly, I woke up 2 talent talismans at the initiation ceremony today and am preparing to go to relevant institutions to cooperate with research and obtain some subsidies. However, as soon as these words were spoken, they did not receive the expected praise, but instead made Shirakawa's tone suddenly become solemn. Does anyone else know about this? No, what's wrong? Chen Xuan was taken aback. Let me talk to you face-to-face when I go back. Don't mention this to anyone else. Okay. I'll go find my counselor to take a leave now and try to get back today. I'll hang up first. Well, brother, please pay attention to your safety on the way. After hanging up the phone, Chen Xuan frowned and fell into contemplation. There are few people who awaken 2 innate talents at once, but there are always a few related news reports every year, which is not as rare as a once-in-a-century occurrence. The interviewees in the news also mentioned that in order to cooperate with the specific content of the study, they only sampled some blood and hair, and then collected data on changes in brainwaves and other data for a period of time, which is equivalent to a complex physical examination. It's not like in some early science fiction movies, where people have to cut open their stomachs, hearts, and lungs for slicing. Even many people who first awakened their 2 talents have achieved good results in their journey as envoys, and are still active in various social media cameras today, without any signs of human evaporation. So where is the problem? Chen Xuan couldn't figure it out. But since my brother has said so, there must be a reason behind it. It's impossible to harm oneself anyway. However, this incident also serves as a reminder that in a world where individuals can possess extremely high levels of force, there are clearly only a few more hidden crises. In the future, no matter what you do, you still have to be careful and cautious, seeking collection, seeking investment, seeking tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. My brother has a king-like posture. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 5. My brother has a king-like posture at midnight, in the faculty dormitory. Click. The crisp sound of the anti-theft door lock cylinder being rotated appears particularly clear on quiet nights. Upon hearing the commotion, Chen Xuan immediately got up from bed, opened the door, and arrived at the living room. As the lights lit up, I saw a handsome young man dragging a suitcase, exuding righteousness all over his body. He bared his shark-like bright white sharp teeth and smiled at himself. You haven't slept yet. I can't sleep. Chen Xuan nodded helplessly. You're still like when you were a child, you can't fall asleep when something happens. Baichuan opened the suitcase and took out a small handbag to throw to Chen Xuan. Here, I have brought you a bag of tea made from ancient fruit, he said looking at the words, sleep aid, written on the tea box. Chen Xuan couldn't help but joke, my evaluation is that the sleep aid effect is definitely not as good as coffee. When he was a child, his mentality was indeed poor. Whether it was having an exam the next day or having an adopted family come to pick a child, he would be so nervous that he couldn't sleep all night. Once, Baichuan didn't know where he heard that coffee had a sleeping effect, so he stole a bag of bubble from the dean in the middle of the night and gave it to him to drink. As for the effect, so did you finish drinking and still go to bed? Shirakawa, who was placing his carry-on luggage, smiled awkwardly. If it counts as fainting, then it is indeed falling asleep. Chen Xuan spread out his hand without hesitation. Others tend to be more energetic as they drink coffee, but he falls asleep as soon as he drinks it. Later on, as he grew older, he wouldn't just fall asleep after drinking coffee, but instead developed some red rashes on his body. It was only then that Chen Xuan realized he was actually allergic to coffee. Therefore, the truth about falling asleep right after drinking coffee in the past is actually that when I was a child, my resistance was too weak and my intake of allergens was too high, so I fainted brilliantly. Cough. Baichuan let out a dry cough and decisively chose to shift the topic. With a serious expression, he said, stop talking about this and get down to business. Upon hearing this, Chen Xuan stopped making jokes and immediately sat upright with a respectful expression. Baichuan chuckled a few times and pinched Chen Xuan's tight shoulder, saying, you don't have to be so nervous. It's not like you're committing a crime and you're going to jail. I don't want to be nervous either. Chen Xuan sighed and said, but you don't even go home during the summer vacation. As soon as you hear that I have awakened my dual talents, you rush over overnight. Does this seem like something you can relax about? Mainly because the National Day holiday is approaching, if you don't come back quickly now, you may not be able to get your ticket by then. Baichuan patted his thigh and laughed heartily, and the matter of dual talents, just don't let anyone else know, there's nothing else to pay attention to. Why can't people know? There are also quite a few talented individuals online. How can I explain this to you? Baichuan scratched his head in distress and said, besides the initiation ceremony, every time the envoy level is promoted, there is a chance to awaken new talents. You should know this, right? I know. Chen Xuan nodded slightly and said, the probability of awakening new talents during promotion is lower than the probability of awakening dual talents during spiritual awakening. During the day, he took sick leave directly from his homeroom teacher and went to the library to crazily supplement knowledge related to the Imperial envoy and spirit, with some basic knowledge already known. I have a good relationship with a senior brother in school. When he was promoted from soldier level to soldier level, he awakened a new talent. Speaking of this, Baichuan raised 2 fingers and emphasized, 2. So lucky. Chen Xuan was surprised. This probability should be as low as winning the lottery, right? Well, he originally wanted to invite us to have a meal together, but he was called away by the school leaders on the same day. And then it never appeared again. That's not the case. After a few days, he went back to school. Baichuan shook his head and said, I happened to meet him that day, but when we greeted him, we looked as if we didn't know each other. Uprising mentality, right? It's probably because I feel like my future is destined to be limitless, and I start looking down on my friends around me. It's not a matter of whether he's a nouveau riche or not, but all his words and actions, including some subconscious reactions, are like a different person. Baichuan's face became somewhat solemn. In the past, if someone slapped him on the shoulder from behind to greet him, he would just use a counterattack and then ask, are you fierce, Kuan brother. But when I patted him on the shoulder that time, he actually gave him a leaning gesture, which was even more skilled than the usual grappling hand. His eyes were also very frightening, just like our real-life teacher who claimed to have seen countless blood, with a murderous aura. That's really strange. Chen Xuan rubbed his chin thoughtfully. I have crossed parallel worlds and awakened my dual talents. After awakening his dual talents, the senior's temperament underwent a drastic change. When these two things are pushed back and forth, it seems that one can draw the conclusion that the traveler will awaken dual talents. But it's not right either, because Baichuan just mentioned that on the day when the senior awakened his dual talents, he originally wanted to invite a guest to celebrate, which indicates that his temperament had not changed much at that time. The real reason for the drastic change in temperament should be what happened during the days when I was called away. After all, if the other party is really a traveler, when facing a strange world, they will only try to reduce contact with others as much as possible, and will not take the initiative to treat guests to meals, right? So, for now, don't tell anyone about awakening your dual talents. Bai Chuan patted Chen Xian's shoulder and warned, but after being promoted to the rank of soldier, you can rest assured to promote it. Why? Isn't that also considered a dual talent? Chen Xian was puzzled. Although it can also be considered as a dual talent, it seems that there is still a significant difference compared to the kind of awakening two talents at once. Bai Chuan patiently explained, this is reflected in our student handbook when we first enrolled, and the benefits that these two types of people can get are completely different. For those who awaken two talents at once, even for some very poor talents, the school is willing to tilt various resources. And for those who awaken their talents during promotion, unless their potential greatly increases due to the addition of new talents, the actual change it brings is that the teacher will always call your name during each class. Although they all have dual talents, their treatment is completely different. Chen Xian pondered deeply. Don't worry about this for now. As long as you don't tell anyone about it, it's better not to mention it to me either, so as not to let me slip the tongue. Bai Chuan raised his hand and rubbed Chen Xian's head, saying with a smile, since he has awakened his dual talents, he must transfer to the Imperial Academy to fully demonstrate his skills. How about that? Do you have any favorite candidates for the Imperial Academy? Chen Xian pursed his lips, hesitated for a moment, and then decided to shake his head and say, I don't plan on transferring to the Imperial Academy. The expenses of Imperial students are not low, just contracting a royal spirit can range from tens of thousands to hundreds or even millions. And this is only the price for purchasing the Imperial spirit, not including the subsequent training costs. It will be quite difficult to rely solely on Baichuan for support without the huge subsidies previously thought. After all, Baichuan also has his own Imperial spirit to cultivate, and as a student in school, he has not yet entered the workforce, so the extra money he can save from part-time work is also limited. Why? After finally awakening the dual talents, don't waste it. Baichuan couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. I haven't come back this summer, so I still made a lot of money. With some school subsidies, I still have some assets, okay. How much money can you have? Can I still not be sure? Chen Xian muttered to himself, but on his lips, he said, it's less than a year before the college entrance examination, and even if you apply, you won't be able to pass. How do you know if you don't try? Baichuan reached out and patted Chen Xian on the back. Stand up and show me your talent list. Just pick the most powerful one and show it. Don't show the other one until you're promoted to the rank of soldier. Speaking of this, Chen Xian couldn't shirk it and had to pinch his sword finger, stumbling and showing off his natural talent. After seeing that it was the gluttonous stomach, Shirakawa remained silent for only a second before exaggerating his thumbs up and exclaiming. This talent is amazing. I have to take his imperial examination. My younger brother has a royal demeanor. Looking at his appearance, Chen Xian couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. Brother, if you don't know how to praise us, can you stop boasting, seeking collection, seeking investment, seeking tickets? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Stone Monkey. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Stone Monkey. The next morning, at the Demon Cultivation Base in Furong City. Last night, Baichuan only made a decision on Chen Xuan's transfer to the Imperial Academy. Today, we will bring him to purchase the Imperial Spirit. Hello, welcome to Lin. As soon as they entered the door, a staff member warmly welcomed them and said, "May I ask if you want to buy a spirit or related products? Choose, Yuling." Baichuan patted Chen Xuan's shoulder and said, indicating that it was not for his own purchase. "Are you just preparing to apply for the Imperial examination? Do you have any desired candidates for the Imperial Spirit?" Looking at Chen Xuan's slightly immature face, the staff smiled and asked, "If not, could you please inform me of the intended racial rating range so that I can make some suitable recommendations?" Race rating represents the combat power level of different demon races at the same level, divided into 1 to 9 stars. However, racial rating only represents the average level of the group and does not include all individuals, as the saying goes. A phoenix comes from a pheasant's nest. Not every royal spirit can be promoted to the rank of king, but royal spirits can come from any race. Of course, this does not mean that when selecting a spirit, one can completely ignore the race rating. From a different perspective, picking demons is like starting a company or hiring employees. Any university can produce talents. But there are often thousands of miles of horses and not many Bo-Lu, and no one can guarantee that they will be able to have unique insight. So, when there is a choice, it is natural for students from good schools to give priority. Even if not every one of them can achieve great success, at least the lower limit of their abilities is guaranteed. The same goes for selecting demons and spirits. Let's take a look at Stone Monkey first. Chen Xuan said. Although according to Shirakawa's initial suggestion, it is to contract a canine demon, which can also impart some experience and avoid taking detours. After all, Shirakawa has successfully awakened his talent since his first year of high school and started his career as an envoy. Now that he is in his sophomore year, it has been almost 5 years. However, Chen Xuan still attaches great importance to the level of racial rating. Since I have control over some of the symbols that have not yet appeared in this parallel world, I naturally need to make good use of them. At present, some demon races with a price tag of only tens of thousands of yuan. In the future, if suitable imperial magic talismans are promoted and a direct evolution path to 8 or 9 stars is taken, their value will immediately be hyped up to hundreds of millions. So, why not enjoy the experience of spending tens of thousands of yuan to enjoy millions now? And the Stone Monkey is the best choice. It's not because it has the highest growth potential, but because among the several hidden plans that I know can grow to 9 stars, the Stone Monkey clan has the cheapest price point 80000 yuan. Moreover, it is worth mentioning that Stone Monkey has a special tactic in the board game Yuling Lu. If used well, it can even kill one of the opponent's Yuling while improving its star rating. Okay, please follow me over here. The staff led the two of them all the way to the back door of the shop. As soon as the door opens, one can feel the vast expanse of the grassland, with various mountains, rivers, and lakes in sight. Ahem, accompanied by a long howl, a chubby figure rolled towards the door. Rolling Snow Seal, Ice Demon, race rating 2 stars, white hair covering the body is like jade, speckled like smoke. In the snow field, curled up like a ball, the ice and snow form its ground, rolling like a shuttle. Snow Leopard, shut up. Don't let the dog bark. The staff scolded, and after putting a reins around the wrinkled belly of the rolling Snow Seal, they turned around to greet the sled next to them. Our breeding base is very large, and it may take a bit longer on the way. We need to endure it. How can we pull without snow here? After getting on the sled, Chen Xuan couldn't help but mutter to himself. Pop 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 pop. After seeing the 3 people sit firmly on the sled, the rolling Snow Seal excitedly struck its belly, like the sound of a train whistle before it moved. At the same time, the staff pinched a sword finger and outlined it in the air. A semi-virtual and semi-real talisman, emitting an icy blue light, quickly formed. Immediately after, the talisman flashed like a spatial leap, appearing directly in front of the rolling snow seal. Ow! I saw the rolling snow seal burying its head and rolling its body forward, directly smashing the talisman into scattered fragments of light. In an instant, the ground quickly froze and a snowy road extended forward. Yushu, Ice Book. Snow Track. Create a smooth snowy road surface to affect enemy movements or assist oneself in quickly sliding on it. Creating snow like this should consume a lot, right? Baichuan asked curiously. It's really big for others, but it's actually okay for me. The staff casually raised their hand, and a talisman appeared on the head of the rolling snow seal as it moved forward. With the appearance of talismans, the snow that had already rolled over began to melt, rising into wisps of cold mist and being incorporated into the talismans. Talent Book. Recycling Factory. Capturing energy that has not yet dissipated and recycling it can greatly improve the durability of combat. A seal-type permanent machine that only requires 2 dried fish for 100 kilometers. If you go for a ride-hailing service, you can't beat others up in terms of price. Chen Xuan sighed in his heart. However, according to current policies, it is still quite difficult for Yuling to pull cars on the road, and they can only run in such a wide area without traffic police. After driving for a while, Chen Xuan found that this cultivation base was somewhat different from what he had imagined. At first, he thought it would be similar to a breeding farm, with a fence built around it and spirits placed inside to breed. But after speeding on the sled for almost 10 minutes and still not seeing the end of the breeding base, Chen Xuan realized that this place was actually more like a nature reserve. The area is vast, and the ecology is also very intact. Some demons also prey on each other. For example, the white fur ball flying in mid-air at this moment. Sparrow winged eagle, wind style, race rating 2 stars, snow white feathers, round and rolling body, with a bird-like demeanor and charming demeanor, with 4 claws and a tiger-like posture, preferring to show off one's ferocity and fight fiercely. If you look closely, you will find that the 4 claws of this cute chubby sparrow are tightly grasping a Wong rat. From the expressions on both sides, Chen Xuan could even guess his inner monologue. Sparrow winged vulture. Mom, you don't need to keep dinner for me, Wong mouse. Mom, there's no need to keep dinner for me. Notify the house mouse. Chen Xuan silently mourned for him. As the sled pulled further and further away, several lush hills appeared in the field of vision. The stone monkey you want to see resides in Monkey Mountain here. After the sled slowly stopped, the staff introduced it. Where's the monkey? Looking at the empty Monkey Mountain, Chen Xuan couldn't help but wonder. The staff scratched their head awkwardly, feeling momentarily lost and unsure of how to respond. After a brief observation of Monkey Mountain, Shirakawa, who came from a police academy, came to the conclusion. From the footprints, it can be seen that the monkey group is likely gathering on the shady side of the mountain, and due to the leeward side and the surrounding valley structure, it can provide good sound insulation. Therefore, standing here, we will feel that the Monkey Mountain is very quiet. Cough. The staff coughed twice and forced to hold on to their respect. It's similar to what I thought. Let's go this way. After a series of twists and turns in Monkey Mountain, the 3 of them also arrived at the shady side of the mountain. As expected by Shirakawa, the stone monkeys of the entire Monkey Mountain gathered here, laughing and laughing loudly. From the direction of their line of sight projection, today's joke should be the monkey but that separates the nearby, small artificial waterfall, in half. It seems that most likely a stone monkey wants to cross the waterfall and see the scenery behind it. Unexpectedly, there was only a small stone cave behind the waterfall, so he got stuck in it in embarrassment in front of everyone. Only 2 bright red monkey buttocks remain, faintly visible under the erosion of the waterfall, seeking collection, seeking investment, seeking tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Wukong, it's up to you. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 7 Wukong, it's up to you. This monkey doesn't seem to be very smart. Looking at the bright red monkey butt, Chen Xuan couldn't help but laugh. Originally, when I saw so many monkeys in Monkey Mountain, I was prepared to be picky. However, I didn't expect to rule out a wrong answer when I first arrived, and I was lucky. How about this one? Bai Chuan picked up a stone monkey that was laughing so hard that it turned soft all over his body, and recommended, it doesn't look big, but it feels heavy when picked up. The quality and quantity of hair are obviously better than other stone monkeys, and their defense should be quite outstanding. Not bad. Chen Xuan looked up and down twice, nodded in agreement, but then hesitated and said, it seems that the hair on the top of the head is a bit sparse, and there is a trend of baldness. Oh, on the 256th, before weaning, its mother would cherish it. Every time it was fed, she would let it eat first, and she would always pick and lick its fur. The staff looked at the number on the collar of the stone monkey and explained, over time, my body has naturally developed well, but the cost is that I have a little bald head. Although becoming bald always comes with becoming stronger, the thought of standing next to a monkey with a Mediterranean hairstyle in the future is still not very acceptable. Chen Xuan silently rejected the number 256 in his heart. After observing a few stone monkeys with Chen Xuan, Bai Chuan suddenly said, you pick them first, I'll go bargain and come back later. After speaking, he walked towards the staff not far away. Feeling Bai Chuan approaching, he immediately squatted down and touched the back of a stone monkey, pretending to have a sharp eye, commenting, this stone monkey is also good, with thin skin and thick filling. Ah no, rough skin and thick meat. It's not bad. If it were priced at 70,000 yuan, I would definitely buy it without saying a word. Bai Chuan nodded with a serious expression. Upon hearing this, the staff almost reflexively made a painful expression and said, we'll lose out directly if we sell 70,000. We'll give you a month's worth of high-quality rations at most. That's 69,000 yuan. Shirakawa smiled. Wow, there's no such thing as a bargain. I'll calculate the cost of cultivating a stone monkey for you. 68,000. Our cultivation base is the largest in the city. 67,000. Brother, stop making trouble. The minimum is 75,000 yuan. I can't go any further, otherwise I'll have to pay for it myself. Faced with this terrorist-style bargaining, the staff were all helpless. Don't you have commissions? Just earn less. Bai Chuan shrugged his shoulders. I also have to support my family. Xiaona's bag, Xiaodan's lipstick, and Awei's high heels are all places to spend money. The staff complained, so, with my personal permission, can I give an extra month of high-quality rations? It will take 2 months in total, and I can almost get winter vacation. If I buy it outside, it will cost at least 2,000 yuan. Bai Chuan didn't speak, but stared straight into his eyes. I didn't take my gaze away until I saw that the other person was getting a little flustered. After confirming that this was the lowest price that could be offered, Bai Chuan nodded lightly and said, okay, then I'll buy it for 75,000 yuan. How do I make the payment, in cash or by transfer? The staff is busy asking. Bai Chuan bared his pure white sharp teeth and smiled, saying, loans. The records here show that you had an exclusive scholarship agreement for the police academy during your high school years. The Huaxia Police Academy Foundation provided Zhonghua Dog as your guardian spirit, as well as a monthly tiered quota subsidy. The staff held the tablet and said, but these are not free, but they require you to repay them monthly after starting work. So the name is called an agreement, but essentially it's a loan. You should be clear about this, right? Clear. Bai Chuan nodded and said, if you haven't been admitted to the police academy, you will need to repay the loan at interest after work, and you won't be able to apply for a mortgage or car loan until it's fully paid off. However, if you successfully get admitted to the police academy, not only will you be able to get interest-free, but your principal can also be halved, and you can still get a normal loan on this basis. Okay, it seems that you already had a good understanding before coming. The staff nodded and said, however, there is one thing I still need to correct. Normal loan only refers to the procedures and conditions for processing, and does not mean that the interest rate is calculated according to normal circumstances. Will interest rates be higher? About 2 points higher, because you are in a debt state and have no assets to mortgage. The loan is solely based on your identity as a police academy student as credit protection, and the bank also needs to consider potential unexpected risks. Raising interest rates is understandable. The staff explained, furthermore, you are only in your sophomore year and your future job prospects after graduation cannot be determined yet. If you want to apply for a Royal Spirit loan, you can only set interest rates based on the highest casualty rate of the search officer standard. During your school years, it may also be difficult for you to repay your loan, as part-time income is not only limited but also unstable. The best way is to apply for deferred repayment. But if we want to delay repayment, the interest rate will have to be increased, and in the end, it will be almost 18 points. It should be noted that this is not the total interest rate yet, but the annual interest rate, so when calculating the total interest, you also need to multiply it by the number of years of the loan term. With your current credit authority, you can only handle it for up to 5 years. If you calculate this, for a loan of 75,000 yuan, the final principal plus interest will be 112,198.22 yuan. That is to say, after graduating from university, you will need to repay 1,893.24 yuan per month. In addition, with the student aid agreement you obtained during your high school years, you will need to repay 2,123 yuan per month for the next 5 years after graduation, so the total monthly payment is 4,016.24 yuan. Counting to this point, the staff couldn't help but feel a bit sympathetic towards the young man in front of them. Even for police academy students, not everyone can get a high salary. Some positions that are just a bit close to starting work only earn a monthly salary of 4,000 to 5,000 yuan. Faced with a monthly repayment of 4,000 yuan, it's almost the rhythm of struggling to survive for 5 years after graduation. Furthermore, if you want to elevate your position, the first few years are precisely the most critical moments. If there is not enough capital investment at this time to continuously improve one's strength and showcase one's potential to the leadership. So, it's basically impossible to expect to rise again in the future. The young man in front of him chooses this kind of loan. Unless he leverages the advantage of his handsome face to be with a wealthy woman, his future prospects are basically ruined. Understand? Baichuan nodded clearly and said, "Can I borrow more? It would be best if I could cover the subsequent training costs for the stone monkey as much as possible. He also has a spiritual need to cultivate himself, and he is already financially strapped. Now he still needs to support Chen Xuan in applying for the Imperial examination, which is even more difficult. If we could borrow more, it would at least solve the urgent situation at hand. As for whether we can repay the loan smoothly in the future, it will also be a matter of the future." It can be. The staff was a bit surprised, but we can't borrow much more. Even if we do some bundled sales, we can only help you increase the loan amount to 100,000 at the highest. Then let's apply for a loan of 100,000 yuan. Shirakawa Inoue arranged in an orderly manner, for the extra 25,000, first purchase high-quality rations that can be consumed before the college entrance examination, and then apply for a training center membership card that can be used until the end of the college entrance examination summer vacation. The rest will be replaced with supplements like Ayuka Jade. Okay, please sign here. After listening to the entire conversation behind a rockery, Chen Xuan lowered his eyes and silently walked back to the location where he had previously chosen the stone monkey. In order not to collide with Shirakawa, he took another path and this time saw not the monkeys but in the waterfall, but a puffy monkey face. "So you're number 500. Chen Xuan crouched in front of the stone monkey and glanced at the collar on its neck. However, his excessive approach caused the stone monkey to show its teeth and emit a low warning sound with some unease. Chen Xuan was not afraid of this either, but instead rubbed the monkey's head with his hands. This also caused the stone monkey to constantly struggle and shake its head. But after a while, it realized that resistance was useless, and it had to lower its head in frustration. However, the anger in those eyes did not diminish at all. All troubles stem only from lack of ability. Chen Xuan lightly scratched the chin of the stone monkey and murmured to himself, "If you are strong enough, this mountain cannot trap you. Those splashing monkeys dare not laugh at you. The world is vast, and you can swim in a somersault." Stone monkey naturally couldn't understand what he was saying, but seeing Chen Xuan lose focus, he quickly seized the opportunity and bit into his tiger's mouth. Feeling the excruciating pain like an electric shock, Chen Xuan didn't care either. He lowered his head and looked at the few drops of blood falling between his palms. He couldn't help but smile with satisfaction and said, "Very well, we need to maintain this kind of anger in the future. The heavenly palace is waiting for you to make a big fuss." As he spoke, his other hand condensed a royal spirit talisman and gently pressed it against the forehead of the stone monkey. "Wukong, it's up to you. Seeking collection, seeking investment, seeking tickets." End of this chapter. In Chapter 8, You Should Be My Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8, You Should Be My Master. After purchasing the Imperial Spirit, Baichuan took Chen Xuan to various institutions to handle various procedures such as Imperial Spirit Household Registration and Student Imperial Envoy Certificate. Everything went smoothly, but I didn't expect to end up stuck on the school side. In previous years, there were also students in their third year of high school who successfully awakened their spirits and transferred to the Imperial Academy, but the final results of the college entrance examination were actually not ideal. Moreover, Chen Xuan's grades are already good, so there is no need to take this risk. Of course, if you still want to give it a try, I will be responsible for arranging a test after National Day. Regardless of whether the test can be passed or not, as long as you insist on reporting to the Imperial Academy, I will agree. After all, your Imperial Spirit has already made a contract. I just have a request. If the test doesn't pass, you can think about it for another week and think it over. Is that okay? That's what the director of the Academic Affairs Office said at the time. It was said very tactfully and politely. But Chen Xuan still understood his implied meaning. This test is used to test one's ability level. If you pass it, it proves that there is still a chance to compete in the college entrance examination. However, it is best to step back and not turn back without hitting the south wall. Although in the end, as long as he has a thicker skin, he can still transfer to the Imperial Academy, but today's incident still puts a lot of pressure on him. So, I lost sleep again at night. After several twists and turns, Chen Xuan decided to sit up from the bed and summon with a divine spirit talisman. "Since I can't sleep, come out and accompany me, Huaimin." A round figure appeared in front of him in the flickering earthy yellow light. Stone monkey, earth-type demon, race rating 2 stars, gray hair with hidden patterns, mottled and deep stone patterns. The hard mane penetrates through the defense, curling up to protect oneself. Sitting and lying are also smooth, moving like a free wind. Suddenly immersed in an unfamiliar environment, the 2 snowy eyes of the stone monkey couldn't help but panic as they quickly looked around. After realizing that it was in a closed environment with no chance of escape, it couldn't help but feel a little uneasy when it looked at Chen Xuan again. Even subconsciously, they began to reflect on poking their fingertips, wondering if they had acted too recklessly this morning. Woo! Suddenly, a dog barked outside, frightening it to instinctively lean towards Chen Xuan. Although the two had some unpleasantness before, the contract still gave them an indescribable sense of closeness. "You have lost your courage, Wukong. Back then, you caused a great uproar in the heavenly palace and fought alone against 100,000 heavenly soldiers and generals. How could you be so brave?" Chen Xuan gently stroked the tightly curled and hardened stone monkey, sighing with a nostalgic expression. "Alas, after all, they have already reincarnated. You are no longer the great sage of Qi Tian back then, and I am not the Xuanzang master back then. Haha. Stone Monkey quietly lifted his head and nodded, his eyes somewhat confused. After reaching the contract, even if there is no language barrier, both parties can communicate without hindrance. Therefore, it can understand every word Chen Xuan says, but when these words are combined together, they are somewhat difficult to understand. It's okay if you don't remember. I'll help you slowly recall it. Chen Xuan said seriously, first of all, let's talk about your background. Back then, when Dongxing Shenzhou was proud to come to the country, there was a flower and fruit mountain in the middle of the sea. A fairy stone on the mountain gave birth to a stone monkey, which is you. Because at the source of the stream, you found a stone cave called Water Curtain Cave, and you were crowned king by a group of monkeys. After witnessing the birth, aging, illness, and death of other monkeys for 300 to 500 years, you suddenly lamented that monkeys have impermanence and cannot live long. After being guided by an old monkey, you made your own bamboo raft and set sail. Along the way, you passed through Nangshuibu Island to Xinyohezhou, climbed Lingtai Fangcuan Mountain, entered Xie Sanqing Cave, and worshipped the founder of Subhuti. From then on, you were accepted as a disciple and named Sun Wukong. Upon hearing this, Stone Monkey couldn't help but widen his eyes, his face full of disbelief. Sigma, degree, winky face. Is it true? Am I really jumping out of a stone? Of course, look at how you look now. Aren't you like a stone? Chen Xuan nodded with a certain expression on his face. At this moment, the stone monkey is using its racial skill, stone mane, curling up into a ball and then hardening its entire body hair to resist the enemy. Sure Monkey blinked his eyes and turned his head left and right to look at his own appearance, only to find that it seemed to be very similar to the stone. And during normal sleep, if a companion comes to play with it, they always slap the nearby stone randomly, mistaking it for themselves. At that time, Bodhi Patriarch knocked on your little brain bag melon 3 times with such a thud 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 thud, and you immediately understood. This was to pass on your skills at midnight, and then that night you learned the 70.2 changes of the Earth Demon and the martial arts competition. The stone monkey, whose brain had collapsed after being hit 3 times by Chen Xuan, still had a silly expression on his face. Oh degree, Omega, is the somersault cloud really that powerful, capable of doing a somersault for 108,000 miles? I'm sure there is. Think about it. When you climb rock, do you feel like you're flying in the air? Isn't that the foundation you left behind when learning somersault cloud? Chen Xuan opened his mouth and came. Although the Stone Monkey clan has high defense, their flexibility is not weak at all. Climbing between peaks and cliffs is as light and agile as flying in the air. Today, Wukong will get stuck on that rockery, which indirectly proves that his jumping ability is more outstanding than other stone monkeys. Hee hee. Upon careful consideration, the stone monkey, who seemed to be really like this, almost grinned at the back of his head. On that day, you swore at Huagua Mountain that you had a dream of liberating the entire monkey race. Then, you picked up the Rui golden hoop stick and bravely broke through the Senluo Hall. Not only did you tear down the life and death book, but you also raised the ashtray of the King of Hell. Chen Xuan gradually became outrageous. Later on, this matter also caught the attention of the Heavenly Court, because they didn't dare to confront you head-on, so they sent the White Gold Star to recruit you as a hardworking Bai Ma One. Can you bear to have such a small official position with such great abilities? I can't bear it. Pan Tao refused to invite you, saying it was difficult. You immediately lifted the table and shouted, if it's difficult, then don't do it. Then you transformed into 3 heads and 6 arms and hit the South Heavenly Gate all the way. Speaking of the commotion in the Heavenly Palace, the 2 small fists of Stone Monkey couldn't help but clench tightly, their bodies trembling slightly with nervousness, but their eyes were full of longing. Later on, you were pinned down by the Buddha at the foot of the 5 Elements Mountain. After 500 years of wind and sun exposure, you waited for me to unveil the heavenly bars for you and regain your freedom. From then on, you, my master, and my disciple embarked on the journey to the west. At this point, Chen Xuan couldn't help but sigh and looked out at the bright moon with his hands behind his back, his eyes filled with the sorrow of the past that was unbearable to look back on. The stone monkey, who could hear tears in his eyes while lying in bed, flipped over and landed, and, bang bang bang, made 3 loud noises. Oh, master is here, please accept my disciple's bow. You're a great disciple. Chen Xuan lightly stroked the head of stone monkey on the surface, and his heart was about to burst into laughter. At this moment, the stone monkey was also surprised to find Sigma, degree winky face. Master, your hand can just hold a monkey's head. Is that right? Chen Xuan couldn't help but laugh. Sure, monkey was both surprised and delighted, seeming a bit incredulous. He grabbed Chen Xuan's hand and flipped it over and over again, then placed it on his own head to compare and over again. Finally, he solemnly came to a conclusion. Omega, master, your hands are specifically designed to hold my monkey head. That's for sure, I won't let any other monkey heads go. Chen Xuan smiled and nodded. Shi Ho lightly rubbed his head against Chen Xuan's palm, half squinting his eyes and giggling foolishly. No wonder you are my master. Your hand was made against my head, so you should be my master. Seeking collection, seeking investment, seeking tickets, end of this chapter. Chapter 9. Dirty Things. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Dirty Things. The next day, the first day of National Day. Although it is a holiday, Chen Xuan still needs to wake up early and take Shi Ho to class. It's not a school class, but a social norms class that every newly acquired spirit needs to attend. For young spirits, the course mainly focuses on playing with young spirits from other races. This can greatly avoid the occurrence of stress behavior when encountering non-ethnic spirits on the road in the future. In addition, it is also necessary to learn to live in harmony with strangers. During this period, it is necessary to frequently enter public places such as shopping malls and subways for desensitization. After all, the tertiary industry such as food delivery and express delivery is flourishing nowadays, and most of the work scope of the Imperial Guards is in this area, inevitably involving contact with strangers. Of course, if only social standardization training is available, it is naturally impossible for the public to have peace of mind in contact with unfamiliar spirits. So every year, the envoys need to purchase an accident insurance with a compensation amount comparable to demolition for their own spirits, as agreed upon by the people who have used it. Classmates, that's all for the relevant matters. Now, please take the spirit with you for free activities. Don't be shy, everyone communicate more, the teaching girl spoke sweetly in her voice. However, as a new lecturer, she clearly underestimated the difficulty of this activity. Because soon, an unpleasant situation occurred somewhere. Ah! My flying sand rat! You stupid cat! Don't eat dirty things indiscriminately. Calm down, Wang Kai. He's not yet of age. It's okay, my house is also public. Hey! Don't bite me, if you keep talking, you'll become a father. In law. My little ancestor, don't mess around in such a place. Shut up. Stop eating now, you've lost your life. Compared to the chaotic surroundings, Chen Xuan's side is relatively good. At this moment, the stone monkey is affectionately embracing the neck of a calf, chatting confidently. Omega, Bull Demon King, I don't blame you for not helping me during the chaos in the Heavenly Palace. Now that we have reincarnated, the past is over, and we still regard you as our brother. So why don't you give your brother a sip of this bottle of milk? The calf with a red scarf tied around its neck looked aggrieved and helpless. Omega, firstly, my name is not Bull Demon King, it's all feudalism. Secondly, please call me Comrade Nyogentian. Finally, how could anyone like you drink half a bottle in one sip? Don't drink milk later to pay homage to the 7 saints, right? Seeing the stone monkey start waving to the nearby cloud ping bird and sword velvet lion, Chen Xuan couldn't help but think. Forget it, the top priority is to think about how to make money. Taking back his thoughts, Chen Xuan shifted his attention to his phone. The simplest way to successfully pass the post-National Day test is actually to take advantage of the gluttonous stomach and indulge in it. But resources need to be bought with money, and one is precisely the one who needs the most money. Although Baichuan helped prepare some resources, more of them were still used as daily rations. If all of them were used to enhance strength, they would soon be squandered. So for this part of the resources, it is best not to use them as much as possible, so as not to run out of cash flow in the future, and even Shi cannot afford to eat. Therefore, Chen Xuan can only see if there are any part-time jobs that are suitable for him. A batch of fantasy demon spirits have been lost during transportation, and it is urgent to recruit a group of manpower to search for them. Salary: 1,000 yuan per day. Requirements: have military-level spirit guards and at least 2 years of relevant work experience. Advanced teaching of Fuwen knowledge to junior high school students. Salary: 300 yuan per hour. Requirement: local university students can be picked up and dropped off to school. The current resident of a luxury single apartment needs to purchase fresh cucumbers for a long time and deliver them to their doorstep. Salary: 800 yuan per time. Requirements: strong and strong, with video interviews. Delivery of flyers at department stores. Salary: 30 yuan per hour. Requirements: eloquent and knowledgeable. It seems that the only thing we can do is distribute flyers. Chen Xuan silently began to calculate in his heart. If you send flyers for 8 hours a day, then for a total of 7 days of National Day, which means working 56 hours, you can get 1,680 yuan. If I work an extra hour every day and pick up some mineral water bottles, it will cost over 2,000 yuan, and I can buy a 20 cubic centimeter piece of Qinggang jade. Qinggang jade is an edible jade with a very tough texture. For the stone monkey tribe, it can be said to be the most suitable supplement, which is greatly beneficial for their own strength growth. According to authoritative data, with an average consumption of 1,620 cubic centimeters of Qinggang jade, a stone monkey can be upgraded from civilian level to soldier level within 1.5 years. The market price for this quantity of Qinggang jade is 162,000 yuan. If one does not consume Qinggang jade and only eats rations, it would take 3.5 years for a stone monkey to be promoted from civilian level to soldier level, but the cost of food is only 58,000 yuan. That is to say, as long as you are willing to sacrifice your savings, you can save 2 years of time. An inch of gold can buy an inch of time. Chen Xuan couldn't help but sigh. Not to mention 162,000 yuan, he can't even take out the remaining 2,000 yuan now. Originally, Baichuan had saved up around 10,000 yuan from part-time work throughout the summer vacation, which he used as a backup for himself. However, after purchasing the talisman materials used to improve the rating of the stone monkey race, there were also very few left. Although I have thought about using unknown talismans to make money, the actual difficulty of operation is not small. Firstly, a high school student with no scientific research background suddenly released a brand new talisman, which itself is very suspicious. Secondly, the formal procedures required for a new talisman from birth to profitability can be quite cumbersome. It is estimated that after a series of layers of approval, this year's college entrance examination has already ended. Finally, even if one wants to invest in some futures of Yuling aquaculture in advance through existing research progress, they still suffer from the lack of start-up funds and cannot leverage. Ding! At this moment, the phone received a text message. Your order will be delivered in 1 hour. Please wait at the delivery address in advance to ensure that it is personally signed for. Thank you for your cooperation, it's quite fast. Chen Xuan was somewhat surprised. I just placed the order yesterday evening, but I didn't expect delivery to start today. The time is also quite accurate, and I will be going back after class in an hour. Furong number 8 Middle School, Faculty Dormitory. A messenger pigeon wearing a green postal cap is nervously shuttling between buildings. From time to time, every few seconds, it would look back with suspicion. Although I can't see anything every time I turn my head, I just vaguely feel like something is following me. Damn it, I encountered something dirty. Dong dong dong. The messenger pigeon, whose mentality was somewhat shattered, rudely pecked at the doors and windows. As soon as the doors and windows opened, it didn't wait for the customer to sign for it. It lifted its claws and pulled down the delivery note, then dropped the package and flew away without looking back. This service attitude is not very good. Looking at the figure that seemed to be rushing for reincarnation, Chen Xuan couldn't help but mutter. When he opened the package and confirmed that a series of items such as golden jade powder, mirage scale, and Tianyuan grass were intact, he prepared to draw a spirit fetal talisman for the stone monkey to nourish and improve its racial rating. Unexpectedly, a new text message popped up on the phone. Dear resident friends, a phantom spirit that has been injured and escaped has entered your community. We are conducting a rapid investigation. Please stay at home and do not panic. If you hear any unfamiliar voices talking to you, please do not pay attention, otherwise the consequences will be unimaginable. Furong City Search Bureau, Fantasy Demons. Chen Xuan was taken aback, his expression stiff as he lowered his head to look at the purple scale in his hand. Mirage scale, taken from the scales on the body of a mirage dragon. Its attraction to fantasy spirits can be described as nectar to bees, catnip to cats, seeking collection, seeking investment, seeking tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 10 Race Skills. Night Luo. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 10 Race Skills. Night Luo. Hello, this is the connection point of the Furong City Search Bureau. May I help you? On the phone, a sweet voice came out. Just now I received a text message saying that it was a fantasy-type demon that broke into the staff community of Furong number 8 Middle School. The demon should have been targeting me now. Please help me contact the investigators who are currently investigating in the community and ask them to come to Building 4-302 as soon as possible. Chen Xuan was on the phone while reaching out the window. Buzz, but as the fingertips were about to extend beyond the edge of the window, they seemed to be blocked by an invisible film, causing a purple ripple. Race skill. Night Luo. Create barriers with magical energy to surround opponents and also block the transmission of sound waves. Chen Xuan pressed with great force, and the tough film protruded slightly outward. Obviously, if the intensity of the attack and the intensity of the sound waves exceed a certain range, they can still pass through the barrier. But neither Chen Xuan nor Shi Ho can achieve any ability at this moment. The only fortunate thing that can be considered unfortunate is that the level of this demon should not be too high. After all, being able to make phone calls at this moment indicates that it is still unable to block signals. If it were changed to a gold-type demon spirit, even if the level is not high, it is very likely to block the transmission of electromagnetic waves. Of course, if encountering a gold-type demon, it is highly likely that there is no need to make a phone call. Because they don't like fantasy spirits, they like to ambush their prey and usually choose to confront them directly. In this situation, there is no chance to make a phone call. Don't worry, it's like this. We've sent text messages to every resident in the community, not just you. The operator comforted and said, in this panic situation, there may be some thoughts of being victimized psychologically, which is a normal phenomenon and I personally understand. However, now please pour a glass of water, sit down and take a deep breath to calm down and relieve the tension in your heart. And then leave this world peacefully. Chen Xuan interrupted coldly. You're really joking. I can tell from your voice that you must be a fortunate person, destined to live a long life of 100 years and even longer than the South. I have a mirage scale on my hand now. Clams. Upon hearing this, the other end of the phone clearly froze for a moment, then heard a series of sounds such as chairs moving, hurried footsteps, and debris being scattered on the ground due to collisions. In a faint moment, a vague shout was also heard. "Supervisor, bad news." After a while, the operator's voice, with a hint of panting and panic, continued to ring. "We are already contacting the investigators to rush to your end. Please remain calm and immediately flush the Mirage scale in your hand into the toilet. Don't worry, we will reimburse you later. The target of that demon spirit is Mirage scale, who is currently observing me in the dark. Are you sure that Mirage scale has disappeared under its eyelids and won't cause any extreme reactions?" Chen Xuan frowned. Throwing away Mirage scales before being targeted is indeed a wise move. But in this situation, he needs to make a question mark. The operator was momentarily speechless and seemed unsure of how to answer. At the same time, it seemed that someone was saying something next to her, and the covered microphone vaguely came with a surprised rhetorical question. "Is there another one?" Immediately after, Chen Xuan heard the operator gulp down his saliva and say in a dry voice. "Well, although what I said may not be appropriate, just to be on the safe side, why don't you give your family a call and have a chat?" Chen Xuan remained silent for a few seconds before answering. Instead, he hung up the phone, his face gloomy and lost in thought. Although the other party did not speak directly, he roughly guessed from a few words that there might be more than one demon breaking into the community, but two. At this moment, the team of searchers in the community should have encountered one of the fantasy demons and is currently in battle. So, for now, we can't expect them to come and rescue us, we can only save ourselves. The stone monkey, who was originally playing with building blocks on the side, suddenly shuddered without warning, and then began to feel uncomfortable all over, as if being stared at by something. So, it had to run to Chen Xuan's side hesitantly. "Master, I'm here to play with you, shu." Chen Xuan made a silent gesture and quickly typed on his phone, "Don't talk, we're being targeted by bad guys now." He didn't call Baichuan because he didn't know how to deal with the life and death separation that was informed in advance. So, the best way to think of it is to choose not to respond. He edited a message in the chat box, which contained some useful information gaps. The undeveloped talismans cannot be explained in just a few words, so they can only tell Baichuan how to earn a dowry money through investment, ***, it's okay, master. My arms are strong, I'll go fight that bad guy. The skinny little body of the stone monkey, resembling ribs, is striving to perform the movements of a bodybuilder. Don't move around, you have already been targeted, there is a possibility that you will be hit on the monkey's head with a bang in the next second. Chen Xuan, who had no time to distract, casually fabricated a lie to scare him. Upon hearing this, the stone monkey was instantly frightened and dumbfounded, with trembling legs. So, what should we do? Hello, stand still. Master is trying to save you. Chen Xuan deliberately said with a stern face. The stone monkey nodded repeatedly, paused for a moment, and stood straight against the corner of the wall. After a while, Chen Xuan, who had already edited the message, hung his finger on the send button and hesitated not to press it. After looking up at Stone Monkey with his eyes tightly closed, he turned off his phone and left the message in the chat box without sending it immediately, then placed it in the drawer of the TV cabinet. Stand up for me, you also have some back, Chen Xuan let out a light sigh. Last night, I just told the story of taking scriptures from the West, and I didn't expect it to accompany me to the West today. In fact, there is not a single chance of breaking the game at this moment, it's just that hope is slim. He originally planned to post the message and then confidently bet on that small probability event. But just now, I didn't know if it was due to the contract. When he realized that he wasn't alone and there was such a little stone monkey, he couldn't continue to maintain a calm and focused mind. It will definitely succeed. Chen Xuan took a deep breath and silently hinted in his heart, while reaching out to the talisman material on the table. Just as my fingertips touched, a neutral voice suddenly rang out in my mind. Lucky mortal, I am a deity who can fulfill your 3 wishes. Seeking collection, seeking investment, seeking tickets, end of this chapter.